Hello and welcome. This is the first of hopefully many videos that we will do as part of AC Emulator to help people become more familiar with how to get the emulator up and running, how to get started on stuff. My name is Verbal. I recently pushed in a single commit to get some authentication working, no big deal. But I wanted to go through and demonstrate what it would take to get ACE up and running on a computer that's not really a development box. So this is another box of mine. I've never done development on it. All I have is a bunch of stuff pre-downloaded for this demo, and we will go through and do it. Just follow the README basically. So to get started here, I downloaded SqlYog. I did not get a hex editor. Do not have AC log view. I went ahead and downloaded StyleCop. Downloaded MariaDB, and I have not done any of the rest of this, but I do have the latest version of ACE World. I also have downloaded Git and my Git command line tool of preference. So I've got all those over, not there, here. So just kind of go through these in order. The one that's going to take the longest by far is Visual Studio. This is the links for everything I've downloaded. I will put these in the notes of the video after I'm done. So we'll get started with Visual Studio. We know this can take a very long time to install. I'll probably walk through all the options. We'll pause the video and we'll come back when it's done. But I'll go through the options with you just so you can get used to it. Some of this stuff is optional. You don't need a lot of it. I prefer to do custom because I hate Visual Basic. So we'll do that. Definitely want web developer tools. Let's check out the programming languages. I don't care about, you know what, we do some C++. The physics may be in C++. The client is definitely in C++ if you get a copy of the decompiled version. Do not care about Python tools. I prefer PowerShell. It's just personal preference. Common tools. Oh, let's take Git for Windows. GitHub extension, yes. Oh, we'll do that. Install. Okay, so I'm going to let this run, and we will come back once this is done. Alright, so Visual Studio says it's done. That took 21 minutes installing to a solid state drive, so your mileage may vary. I got an error about the update 3 visual blah 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 blah. I don't care. Let's launch it. Let's see what happens. I'm expecting this should work despite that. I am not going to sign in. I prefer this. I prefer C#. Start. While that's waiting, we will get started on some of the other things we need to install. Let's start with MariaDB. Run. So I apologize, I know the screen goes black there when I'm installing things. Do not need HideSQL. Next, ultra secure password. Next, sure. Defaults. Might not always prefer defaults, but got to keep this simple for you guys, so all's fair. That's done. I'm going to close Visual Studio just because we're going to have to come back to it. I want to install SqlYog. Yes. English. Accept. Might as well run it. Okay. Let's see, I'm not familiar with this, so say local, my super secure password, connect, sure. Alright, so that's here. We'll minimize that guy. Visual Studio installed Git, so I'm not going to install Git again. I'm going to ConEmu. So if you want to use Git with the command line, there's any number of command line tools will do. The Windows command or the PowerShell will even do it. I prefer this tool in particular, it feels a lot more like a typical bash application. It also has a much better integration with the Git environment. So for example, it tells you what branch you're in and that sort of stuff. Alright, I think that's done. ConEmu, there it is. So I prefer to not use the default shell. I prefer to use git bash, and I think we can hit OK. Alright, at this point the last thing we have to install is the Visual Studio extension for StyleCop. This should be a quick one. Install. Alright, done. Alright, so at this point we should have everything installed. So let's come back to the README and we'll get started here. So we want to create some databases, auth and shard. Create database. Alright, let's see what the README says now. Load the base scripts. Alright. So in auth, we're going to do import. Oh, you know what we haven't done? We haven't cloned the repo. So what we're going to do is we're going to come back to the top. We're going to copy this URL here. Then we're going to come back to here. And we're going to make a directory, so we'll do demo. And now we will do git clone, and we will hit paste. Right click to paste in this thing. So we're going to clone that guy, make him a little bit bigger. Alright. So cd ace. The thing I like about ConEmu is that it'll tell you right here what branch you're in. It's not useful for this demo, but it's useful later on. But that should have pulled down all of our scripts. So now we can go back to SqlYog, auth, import, execute script, // demo ace. I forget what the rest of it was. Demo ace database. We are looking at auth base authentication script. Execute. Done. Same thing for the shard. Alright, next is load all the incremental update scripts for authentication. Oh, come on. There we go. Alright, nothing for authentication, nothing for shard. Alright, create a file in database ace world. Load world base. World base. Done. And load into your ace world database. So I've got that over here. Was it right here? So we'll just copy that guy. Why is access denied? Let's go look at our next instruction while that runs. Any updates? for world. Oh, there's 2 updates for world. Gotta run them in the right order, so this one looks older, let's run it. Done. One more time. Yep. Done. Cool. Alrighty. Did that. Did that. Now it looks like it's time to edit configs. So let's go back over here and close that guy. Ace source, ace config.json example. How about config.json? Notepad++. Let's see. Password was our super secret password from earlier. Paste, paste, paste. What else looks neat? Let's see, dat files, turbine, assurance call. I believe that's where that is. So I do not have anything special. I just have the latest dat files and client from playing the release server before it shut off. And I don't know, I'm okay with the rest of it. I have a local content path, content server. I don't know what that is. Alright, we'll go with that and see what happens. I'll hit save. Launcher settings. Okay. Okay, that's right, I guess. That's right. Why not? Alright, so now we're going to come back to ace source and open up the solution for the first time. Okay. Loading some projects. Let's go back to the README just in case. Build it. Properties, move view. Collapse it all. No, really, collapse it all. I'm going to restore NuGet packages just because I know that's something you're going to have to do. And rebuild solution. Alright, errors. So figured out what the problem was. All I did was close the solution and reopen it. Sounds crazy, that's what it is. However, we still have all these errors. It's because by default Visual Studio is going to load you into any CPU. We actually want to get rid of that guy. So what we're going to do is we're going to edit this, remove any CPU, close, and that should flip everything over to be x64. AC emulator is strictly 64-bit. So close that and we'll build again. Control Shift B for people who are not familiar with it. And there's one thing it's griping about. StyleCop. Not worried about it. So we shall turn you off, ignore you. Let's run, let's see what happens. Starting AC emulator. Excellent. Alright, looks like it found what it's looking for. I don't think my cell.dat file is the size it should be. but it's what I have. We'll see what happens. I'm actually going to close that and go back to the README. So README's over here. Did that. Create the account. Alright. So we're going to set multiple startup projects because I think that's just being left out of the README for right now. So set startup projects. Multiple. I'm going to start ACE. I'm going to start the API host. Start the auth API host. And we're going to start the command line launcher. Okay. So now we're going to run them all. That's the API host. Oh, what happened here? Oh, I think this is in the README. Let's go look at the README. What are we getting here? Target invocation exception. Nothing about a target invocation exception. I believe that's... oh, here it is. Okay. We can do that. I believe the other solution was just to run Visual Studio in administrative mode. So that's what I'm going to do. Going to run as administrator. I believe that was the easier solution. Just do this. Oh, you know what? It shows up here in the recent. We'll do that. And hit run. API is listening on 8000. Auth API is listening on 8001. Alright. I believe the README said what to do next was create an account. How do we do that? Account create. Account create. Demo. Password. It said 5. 5 makes you an admin. So let's go find, here we go. It's not authenticated login. Demo password. And in we go. So we now have the server up and running. I'm not going to go through creating a character and all that stuff, but that is the bulk of what is needed to get everything up and running. I believe if there's a need, we'll start doing some of the other videos to go over how to submit your changes, how to, some of the basics of Git, but what has to happen in order for you to get changes in. So we'll do that. Maybe I'll have time next weekend. But I think that's it. Thanks for joining in. Thanks for putting up with me going through this and kind of stumbling through it. But all in all, it feels like a good, productive video. Take care. See you later.